The reason this double standard exists is fundamentally because of gender stereotypes and the idea that women are weak and men are strong. Now, if we look at that, if we look at laughing at a man having his penis put in a garbage disposal versus a woman being mutilated by a man, the reason people might think it's all right to laugh at the former is because of the idea that the man is strong, and therefore that the onus is on the man to have been able to protect himself, that it's kind of funny that he wasn't able to do that, and that, the idea is that the odds were stacked in the man's favour unequivocally, just because of the fact that he's a man, and that because he was not able to escape the situation or otherwise overcome the advances of the woman, that he is somehow worthy of being laughed at. And that's obviously a really wrong way of thinking. It's really wrong. But people think it's okay because that's the way they've been culturally raised, to think about the differences between men and women. Whereas in the converse situation, the man is the one with all the power, and in mutilating the woman, he has abused his power, and it's seen as terrible and wrong. And that's pretty much the reason why we have this double standard. It's because the woman is always considered the victim, and if you take advantage of the fact that she's a very easy victim, then you're a bad person. But if you attack a man who can't be a victim, or it's just seen as unacceptable for him to be a man and to be a victim, then for some reason it's considered laughable. And basically the problem is the gender stereotype. The problem is that people think that it's not okay for the man to be the victim. For some reason, it makes him not a man, and it makes him not worthy of being considered with sympathy and respect for what he's gone through. And that's wrong, because it basically dehumanizes a man. It makes it, by the gender stereotype of men being strong and men being powerful all of the time, it robs them of their human right or their human ability to be able to feel weak or to be able to feel vulnerable, because all people everywhere will feel these emotions at some point or another, and for some reason men just have to hide it and they have to keep it inside, and it's kind of like men are always socialized to never cry. When you see a little kid crying, his dad might say to him, "Stop crying and be a man," and so he's taught that it's just unacceptable for him to ever be weak. And for that reason, we see all men in society as not being okay for them to be weak, and that's wrong. And for this reason, I think it's silly to say that you can't take feminism seriously, because feminism is actually all about tearing down these gender stereotypes. And the reason is because not only are they harmful to men, they're harmful to women too. Because essentially the idea that women are weak and incapable and victims prevents them from doing things that involve being powerful or that involve being capable. So they're considered less able to be bosses or in the tops of their position, because of people just thinking that automatically that they're weak or that they're incapable without actually looking at the situation objectively. In the situation where the Russian woman raped the man, I mean, this is clearly a situation wherein the man was made to be vulnerable, and of course it's perfectly okay for him to be vulnerable. It would be ridiculous for us to think any other way, but somehow, because of these ideas that we've been brought up with, it's okay for him to be taken advantage of, because he shouldn't be taken advantage of because of the gender role that's been assigned to him. And for these reasons, I think it's really important that men's rights activists and feminists work together to tear down gender stereotypes, because really they're harmful to everybody. They're harmful to men and they're harmful to women for different reasons. And I think that instead of focusing on the different reasons and sort of turning it into this thing, into a situation of opposition, we really need to look at it objectively and say, okay, there is one aspect or several aspects of our society that affect us both negatively in different ways, and so we should both work to tear it down in whichever sort of respects that best suit our movements.